Hey guys, this is Lane with the Simple Passive Cash Flow Podcast, and I am recording from Huntsville, Alabama today. Checked out a few of the apartments out there. Just got back from Birmingham the day before, and then Atlanta the day before that. Still selling off those single-family homes. Walked through a single-family home that I'm fixing up. I put about 15,000 into it. I'm putting together a video that you guys can check out at the YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed to that, make sure you guys go there and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But just a little bit report I've been up to. Just got a chance here to hang out here in the Huntsville apartment and or Airbnb. And a few days back, I went to FinCon 2018, and a lot of you guys are kind of wondering, what the heck is that? It's a pretty impressive event, and it's where about 2,000 financial bloggers and YouTubers and podcasts, they gather once a year, and they pretty much talk about money. Mostly it's personal finance is the topic. My story is, back in 2006 when I was, in college. That's where I really got to start doing all this stuff. I started reading all these financial blogs. Some of my favorites were Get Rich Slowly, Wallet Hacks, and of course, Mr. Money Mustache. And then FinCon started later on in 2011 with just a couple hundred people, and it's grown to about 10 times that size today. So I went there because I had some time, and I always wanted to go. So it was my first time going to this conference, and it's kind of funny. I've definitely changed since 2006. After reading, most of the people that go to this thing are into a bunch of frugality. Real estate investing is definitely a minority. I would say 90%, 95% of the people there are pretty debt adverse, and they believe in the 4% rule, I think they call it. Where you get up this big chunk of money, you get $1 million, and you live off 4% of it, because supposedly that's like a dividend rate. And I don't know what kind of a lifestyle living off 40 grand a year, or I think most of them are trying to shoot for 2 million. So they can get $80,000 passive coming in. But they believe in buying cash, no debt, which absolutely doesn't really work with real estate investing. I mean, that's one of the wonders of buying hard assets with good debt. I'm not to say that this FIRE movement or these folks are bad, but I always see living small as a little selfish. The prototype is some dude who's in his mid-30s. They make pretty good money. They're usually in tech. They make $150,000 a year, and they save up their money like squirrels putting nuts away for the winter. And they retire early by just being frugal, and they just go traveling, or they live really small lifestyles. And when I mean small, I'm all cool for not having a big house, but they don't really do much. Like they created this wealth, but they're not really sort of growing it more to give back. I don't know. I just have a sort of a problem with that. It just seems a little nearsighted to me. Seems like a pretty lame life just to exist. Seems like you're just existing off 40 to 80 grand a year. But I don't know if you guys have ever read that $1 Million Next Door book, but it's that type of lifestyle that I would not really want to live. Not saying that I really want, nice things, or not that I don't like nice things either. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important to kind of find your why and find a way to give back to others. And I kind of talk about that in my book. And if you guys want a free copy of my book signed, I'll ship it out to you guys. Just tell one of your friends, and CC me, and I'll send it out to you, and with your mailing address. And so at this conference, there's a lot of financial advisors, and I've got a link in the video on the website here on my article, Why I Don't Really Like Financial Planners. And I think the one thing I like about the people there is that they are pretty happy and content with spending very little money. I think that's one thing that a lot of people I've talked to, guys making $200,000, $300,000 a year, that lifestyle creep just goes up and up. And I ask them, well, at the end of the day, all that matters is how much you save at the end of the year to invest. But it's pretty amazing. Like, I don't know how these guys spend $300,000 and they're just left with 20 or 30,000 at the end of it. Pretty amazing. So other findings at the FinCon, new investments accounts are incorporated into mobile interfaces. Like, if you've seen in the Mint app, there's a click to invest here button, and they're sort of using pseudo AI, I think, to you're even using it in like finance or banks to one click to refinance your home. So I think it's a little dangerous, and it's just a blend of technology in it. And it seems like as these apps are sort of like, you get people on the app, you get people on the platform, and now you're able to sell financial products from there. So no longer are the banks the only place able to sell mortgages, or the brokerages like Vanguard or Fidelity selling investments. But it seems like if you have an audience, then you can kind of just sell stuff on it, because you sort of have a captive audience. And for the average consumer out there, there's somewhat of a trust there. So I don't know where that's going, but it's just a trend that I saw. I also saw a cool 5% instant liquidity online savings bank. They sort of buy bonds at $10 a piece, and you can buy and sell those pretty instant liquidity on an app. It's pretty cool. I asked, well, what's the collateral that people have their money in there? And I guess what they're doing is they're investing in inventory loans on hard products, and I guess they buy it at pretty low rates, so your collateral is pretty well covered. I'm still trying to do more due diligence on this, but if you want to kind of be a guinea pig, shoot me an email, let me know, and I can have you try them out. And for the rest of us, it seems like a cool thing, like how we were all doing HP, which I hear is going to be opening here pretty soon. But this seems like another little more liquidity. I mean, you just pretty much click a button and it's right there, and you can deposit into your bank account. A lot of you guys are looking to be retiring early, and you need health coverage because you're just not having that. There were a couple of providers there. Liberty Health Share was one of them, and these are religious-based health insurance companies that, not to get political or anything, they don't pay for a lot of the semi-sin procedures, like I think they don't pay for abortion, I think, and I think they don't pay for like certain, like if you went out drinking and driving, they wouldn't cover your coverage. So again, I'm not saying it's right or wrong or whatever. That's just what it is. So they're just one provider out there, and I think when you look at the rates, it looks like it's about half the coverage or half the price of if you were to go out and get your regular bronze, silver, gold packages. So that's kind of the recap of my FinCon experience 2018. I don't know if I'm gonna go again. It was kind of it was all right. Maybe next time we'll get a group together and we'll all go together. I think that's what makes it more fun. It's a little lonely when you kind of walk around the room and I kind of keep to myself. I don't want to say that I'm going into debt with getting all these cash flowing properties, because people just don't get it. But the second half of this podcast, and if you guys want to check out the video again, head to the website or the YouTube channel. But I've got the live video. I recorded on stage live at FinCon. What I did is I grabbed I grabbed four guys, and I just interviewed them because they were having side gigs on the side of their job. And I see a constant theme from, you high networking professionals out there who are also growth mindset. Being W-2 employees, a lot of you guys don't get the fulfillment at your day job, especially if it's very bureaucratic. And, I picked these four guys out of the crowd to kind of share their story. 5-7 minutes, I think, is all I gave them. How they, what were some of the first steps, some things to think about, and just, I think what's important, and one cool thing about going to these conferences like FinCon is you get to around sort of people who think differently, and they're growth mindset. They're trying something different. They're kind of following their passions, and So check out that video. And again, please share this with your friends, because if you don't have any friends to have a midday lunch with when you're not doing anything in the midday. And here comes the video. So here at FinCon, we're meeting different financial experts here, and a big subset of the community are other hustlers trying to do the side hustle. So I got Michael here. Tell us a little bit what you used to do in your prior life, and that escape from corporate America.
Sure. So basically, I used to run an IT company, something that I started in my 20s. Ran that for a good 10 years or so, and then ultimately sold that business to a larger company. Worked for them for a couple of years. Really didn't like working for someone else, especially after owning the business. So at that point, I decided I'm just going to basically quit and leave everything behind. So I left corporate America, the 9 to 5, went home and just hung out with my kids.
Yeah, so let's talk about, you kind of quit cold turkey. Did you have any savings before you left?
Yeah, so I definitely had some savings. Along the way, I had saved about 50% of my income along the way. I had also started investing in real estate, single-family homes, and I also was just interested in investing in general. So I definitely, when I left, had a little bit of a cushion. I also had some of my earnout when I sold the company. And so I didn't know right at that point if I actually wanted to do an early retirement or whatnot. So I just said, I'll take a year or two to figure it out.
So you had in the back of your head, you sort of had like a year or two of expenses saved up that you could kind of burn through or something.
Yeah, I had even more than that, but I just wasn't sure if it would be right for me to completely change things up. And ultimately I did. I actually haven't been in a corporate job for the last 5 years. And so that's how the side hustles came about, was because I was home with my kids, and that was fun and awesome, and I wouldn't change the world, but I needed something to keep my mind active. So side hustles are the thing that kind of kept me going. To this day, it's something that makes me.
Yeah, so talk to us about one of those, because you do multiple of them. One of them that you kind of got caught on first, and what were the first steps after you took free fall from the corporate job?
Sure. So I really love real estate investing. I think that's one where you can really leverage your money, best bang for your buck, so to speak. And so I really love single family home opportunities. The environment definitely shifted once I came back home, and as with my kids, I couldn't really go out and look at properties anymore. So I did more real estate communications, crowdfunding, things like that.
So we're gonna move on to the next guest, but Michael, once you drop your you guys can kind of get a hold of him. He does some financial coaching for more high net worth, the less lean fire guys. None of this drive around your Corolla all day long, but more practical stuff. Once you get that up for folks to get it.
Sure, yeah. If you'd like to learn more about me, my site is financiallyalert.com, and I'd love to have you come by and say hello.
Yeah, all right. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Blaine.
All right, up next is Brian, also another guy from the FinCon conference. A lot of guys out here, they start their next side hustle, but they're working the day job, and I'm going to have you kind of tell your story and how you found your next big thing.
Well, I guess this is kind of the start of it, right? This is my first FinCon, and I've had sort of a financial awakening this year after reading several books. Rich Dad Poor Dad being the main one. Kind of opened my eyes.
And this is a big thing coming in this ecosystem, and you're in a room with thousands of other people who think alternatively, and that's why I always tell people, go to some real estate conferences, go to even the real estate meetups, and get around the right people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, being here makes you feel like you can do anything, right? Because you're around like-minded individuals who are really at the forefront of the whole new personal finance journey. It's very, very exciting.
So maybe talk to us about what idea you have, and what are some of the steps that you're gonna do to make that possible.
So my wife and I started our own video production company back in 2007, right before the crash. it was kind of a scary time, doing that, and it's been wonderful. The problem I think is that it's a limited income, and it's a job. I've created a job, although it's a great job and a job I love. It's still just a job. It's not a business. It's not providing me with passive income.
But that's the key here, right? I mean, a lot of us are working that corporate job that, yeah, you make a lot of money, but you don't really like it. It's not something that you enjoy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think, I'm interested in finding ways to grow my net worth and become, financially independent, and that is extremely exciting, and to do that as rapidly as possible. It's almost an obsession, so anything that I can do to ensure that, coming to FinCon, I've decided to create like a side hustle, which is bestselling.com. Yet to be
still working on the
still
URL.
working project, yeah. But the whole idea is I want to help people, save more of their hard-earned cash, and build wealth. Because that's, there's an extreme difference that I found between being rich and being wealthy.
And we sat on this table, the side hustle table, and it was all about really not. The theme is don't make a side hustle if you want to make money because it's profitable. Don't become a pharmacist because you heard that's $100,000 a year job and there's the demand for it. Do it because find a side hustle that you enjoy doing and you want to help people first, because that will kind of shine through. People see through your exterior motives, if not.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. I think you do what you love, it shows.
Right. So you're going to kind of take people through the journey and kind of.
Yeah, I know what it's like to not have money, and I know what it's like to earn a decent wage and to spend it as fast as it comes in. So I have that experience. I want to create, a lot of people that are here at the conference that are, prodigious wealth accumulators. They have, since a very young age, been able to understand that a dollar saved is better than a dollar earned. That took me years to understand. Financial literacy was not something that came naturally to me. It's not something that was taught to me. I think, from my experience, my parents and people that were around me, overspent.
Well said, well said. So why don't you give the folks out there your URL so they can kind of follow your journey and. Yeah.
Well, the new URL is going to be spendlessgreen.com, and currently our video production company is Lucky Lemon Films. It's luckylemon.io.
All right, so you guys can follow that and.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Lane. It's been a real pleasure.
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, you guys, I think it's kind of cool to see. You always run into these blogs and that people are kind of doing big things like Mr. Money Mustache, but this is kind of where it starts, and people are starting these side hustles every day, getting things going, and trying to get these starting from nothing and making it into this big thing. So it usually takes about a couple, 2-3 years of getting going. So my next guest here, Rocky, and you guys have been to my About Me page. This is the man who did that 2-hour-long podcast with me. Probably one of the best interviews I've done ever. His podcast is Richer Soul, but we crossed paths here again today. And I thought we check in, and Rocky is the king of side hustles here. Tell us a little bit what's the real job, and a little bit about what you've been doing on the side.
So my real job, I'm in sales. I work for a biotech drug company, and our industry has changed considerably, as has all industries out there. So you always worry about what's the future, how long will it last. So you always want to make sure that you have something on the side to protect you should something go wrong.
Yeah. So, how long ago did you start when you were working? And was there something you can remember where you're like, I need to do something else?
So we've always had, I think, going back to the late 90s, we had a side business. The problem was back in the late 90s, the taxation of the side business was so high where literally the government was getting half of my money for every dollar I made, that I was like, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to work this hard to pay someone else half my money that does nothing. And so we kind of backed off a little. And that was also around the time we started having kids. And so that took away a lot of time. And then I think about 5 years, 6 years ago, after the collapse of 2008, 2010, 2011, I was looking for some new things to do. And the first thing I got involved with was rental real estate. And then after rental real estate, there were so many opportunities that we got into the flipping business. So flipping houses. And then
All working just the day job.
all of it's done a great job. And then over time, we still had the other business that we had since the late 90s, which is kind of accounting. And we were doing that a little bit still on the side. So building that up a little bit more. And then the latest thing was the financial coaching.
Which came from the podcast, which came from wanting to just put it out there and help people.
So it's literally now about giving back and helping people and what's going to be the next step when I retire from my day job and what I want to do full time kind of in retirement, because sitting around in retirement is kind of boring. I always need something to do, so why not make money? Why not help people? Why not give back? Why not do what you love and enjoy? And I think for me, it was a hard time figuring out what I loved and enjoyed and figuring out how to make money out of it as well. I think that's a difficult thing for people.
Yeah, so one lesson that I kind of, that's helped me a lot is I go around to these different conferences, and it's not to go and take a picture with Paula Pan or meet these high financial celebrities, or when I go to a real estate conference to go meet Grant Cardone or something like that. It's to meet other people that are sort of on the same level as you, like how Rocky is, that you're kind of building your businesses from scratch, and you've got people that climb the ladder together. So it's kind of neat to connect at these sort of things, but you can kind of talk about the same issues and things you're going to. And something that you're kind of working on is, your kids, they're kind of getting a little older now. They're still young. But maybe talk just a little bit about how you're balancing the side hustle and the day job and the kids getting older.
So I think the biggest thing is to manage your time, and that's the most important thing. So look at the 80-20 rule. What is the 20% that you do that gets you the 80% of the results? And then look at what's the 40% that I do that gets me 96% of the results. That leaves you 60% or 4% of results, right? So I basically say screw the 4%. Take the 60%, and now you can even do 320s. You can spend time in three different areas, putting 20% of your time in, getting 80% of the result. Or if you want, you focus 40% of your time and you get 96% of the result somewhere else, you still have another 20% left over. Right? So I think the biggest thing for people is making sure that you have that time balance and that you leave the time to be able to do the things you want. Most people are running on a hamster wheel, got no time. But the reality is you're wasting time. So figure out how to better manage your time.
So, you're still working a day job. You're cranking at third gear or something like that. And you've got the house flipping thing, which you and I have talked, it's getting a little overheated, so maybe taking the gas off a little bit. And you've got the coaching financial side with the podcast and everything. About, how are you looking at, you've got the kids too, right, which is a big part of your life, and you're kind of saying no to a lot of other things. And you talked a little bit about, how do you balance those 3-4 things?
I think one thing you try to do is stack things. So somewhere where you get a 2-for-1, if I do X and I can get double value. So I'm in sales. I'm in the car a lot. While I'm in the car, I'm listening to podcasts of the new guests that I'm going to come have on in the future. So I'm kind of doing my podcast research while working, but I'm not taking away from my work because I'm still driving to where I need to go for work. And so it's kind of double dipping on that time. That's just one simple way that I kind of do that. For the flipping business, I don't do the work. I have a team. So for me, it's phone calls. Well, how long do phone calls take? Not long at all. Just make them. Pick up the phone, call the painter, go, hey, we have standard colors. Go paint the house. Okay, have a nice day. Click. My house just got painted. Right? How long is that call? 2 minutes? 2 minutes, I got a house painted. It's not hard. But you have to put the time in to build that system up, build the relationship with the painter, with the heating guy, with all the different people. Then I have a partner on the flipping business, so he does some of the work. And between us, that kind of takes the load off. So if I'm busy at work, he can also kind of handle it.
Excellent, excellent. So if you guys want to check out Rocky's podcast, again, richersoul.com. And he gets really deep into it. It's like hour, 30 minutes, 2 hour per guest.
Well,
right?
you went. Well, usually we do about an hour. Did we go long?
We went long. We went deep.
I love that. You know what? If I ever break guests and we have the time, we will go deep and long. It's much more appropriate. Much more.
All right, thanks, Rocky.
Thank you.
Alex, why don't you slide on over here?
Yeah, absolutely.
So our next guest here, Alex, he led our little roundtable chat here on creating a side hustle. And one of the real reasons I like the side hustles because a lot of you guys are working professionals, not quite fulfilled in what you're doing. But what are the steps to kind of get out of that day-to-day grind and start building the side hustle? Because it's not like you're going to do it overnight. Maybe talk to us about you're still working the day job.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say the company, but it's in the aerospace industry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I don't mind at all. I work for a big investment company called DIC, and we're publicly traded. We're actually Canadian. And actually, I really enjoy the job. However, it doesn't hit on a lot of my passions.
Right.
So it's a great job, great company to work for. I've got an amazing team, but at the end of the day, I can leave and sometimes be like, man, I don't feel fulfilled necessarily. And that's where the whole reason for me came in, where I'm like, I can do something else. And that's where the idea of the side hustle kind of was born for me.
So you're working the day job, and there's an itch, there's a hunger. What were some of the first things that you tried, or you saw that to try and start building some traction?
A lot of mistakes. I mean, it's kind of the first thing I guess you could say that I went into because I didn't know what to do, and a lot of things that I was trying, I was just trying because I saw people making money at it, I might look at you and be like, he's doing really good at that, so I'm going to try that too. Because
I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to start a podcast. Yeah, because he's doing a good job with it. So, and that's not the right way to do it or reason to start a business even. So I found a better way to do it is to figure out what I'm good at and really what my passion is, like what keeps me up at night, what gets me excited. And those are the things I decided to move into.
And so you've talked about the StrengthsFinder 2.0, which is I'm a big fan too.
Yeah, absolutely.
For you personally, what were a couple of the strengths that were your strengths, and why did it? Maybe backwards engineer on what you're doing today, why it kind of...
Yeah, I'll reach on a couple of them. The first one was strategic, and right behind it was achiever. So I'm good with strategy, and I'm good at achieving things that are put in front of me. So I just started developing things where, for me, it turns into actually doing some business coaching for people. I'm good at helping them with their strategies and designing where they want to go in the future. And then as far as execution is concerned, I'm great at going ahead and helping them implement these things by giving them an aggressive timeline or a timeline that works for them.
Another ingredient that I see that when I have the strategy calls with you folks, again, for who you do a pipeline club member, you guys usually get 15-minute free chat. What I'm trying to listen for is some kind of strength. A lot of you guys that live in certain areas of the country, rentals, that could be a particular strength. Or it could be, you're in construction management and you're good at working with contractors and negotiating different issues like that. What were some of the strengths that you had in your day job that transitioned into what you're kind of doing?
Thankfully, I have a great team, like I said there, and I oversee 6 departments within the company. And I've gotten very good at building a healthy organization. So as far as profitability is concerned, streamlining processes are things I'm naturally very good at. So it just kind of translated over into any sort of side hustle I've ever been part of because I'm able to implement those skills I've learned on the job through that 9 to 5.
Right. So what are the things that you started first? I mean, just writing was kind of the big thing.
Yeah. I started writing because I felt like it was something that I had a story I wanted to share. And, I started off doing it really wrong. I was a terrible writer. I think we talked about it earlier. My first blog post, I found it recently, and it was scary. I reread that makes no sense, But over time, I developed that skill and was able to start actually making some traction with that.
Right. And I think we chatted about it with our other guest earlier. I think it was Michael. It was trying to figure out something that you actually enjoy giving away.
Yeah.
As information, because if not, it's not going to come from a place of abundance and wealth. It's going to keep your followers, or you're going to push away followers because they're going to be like, oh, this guy, he just wants to make money doing this.
Yeah, I think a lot of our, because it's a side hustle, so it is for me, it's for Alex and Filippo. But if I make it positioning about me, That's the problem. The idea's got to be to go and add value and solve someone else's problem and help them along the way. To maybe have the freedom that you have, or just the joy or fulfillment that you're having in your life as well. So turning it around and saying, okay, it's not really about me, it's about them, how I can actually help them grow and develop. By doing that, that makes a huge difference because people see that. People can see through your motives. And when you're out there to help people, that's what they're looking for. They want help.
Right, and that's the big advantage of having a side hustle. Is like your hustle is not your family is not dependent on you having a hustle. So by having the day job, you have food on the table. So what you're doing is just gravy on top of everything else.
Exactly. You know, a lot of people feel like they should quit their job to start, to focus more on their side hustle, which I always discourage people from.
But it makes sense, right?
It
Because
does.
it's like, oh, I'm gonna burn the boats, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
But
And for some personalities that works great, but if you're dependent too much on the financial side, it can overtake the motive of actually helping somebody because you need to eat, right? So that's why I like having a side hustle aside from my job, because I'm not reliant on that. It's all icing the cake whatever I make, but I'm also helping people. But I do see both sides, burning the ships sometimes.
some people need that.
Some people need it. Yeah, it's a personality thing for sure. For me, I think my motives would be a little bit wrong if I did that. I'm being humble when I say that might not be the case, but I'd be concerned that would take
Right.
over.
Your work that you would put out would be a little bit different if you burn the boats and you quit your day job. Might be able to come across as a little differently and it may not work.
Yep, absolutely.
But I mean, who knows, right? Maybe might be the best thing for your personality. We don't know, but
True. I mean, now for me, like I mentioned earlier about my 9 to 5 again that I enjoy. If I hit the point where I feel like I'm not adding value to that job anymore, I kind of get tapped out and I've done all I can to add value in that whole industry, I would move out of it and focus on the side hustle. I definitely would do. I wouldn't be against it at this point.
so you work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and from the ones that have a full-time job,
Right.
trying to make that transition. What do you see as some of the biggest mistakes? You just kind of shake your head. They're not a client of yours, so you kind of just keep your mouth shut. But I'm sure you see a lot of consistencies.
Yeah, I think the first thing is lack of focus. Everyone, like I said at the beginning, it's just seeing something that looks like it's going to make them a lot of money or be huge for them, so they just kind of run after all those things. And they just, I'm like, what do you do? And they're like, well, I do like 10 things. I'm like, well, that's not very focused.
I know you're not good.
Yeah, like you've got to be focused on one thing, because that always scares us. The first thing, like, well, when you go to their website, and it's like real estate investing, car collector, like this, that. I'm like, you got to pick one, man. And that's the first big mistake I see people just get out there. And the nice thing about the world we live in is the sky's the limit. Whatever you see, you can go for it. But you still do have to really be focused. And I see that being the biggest issue. People just have a very general outlook and want to do everything.
So if someone's starting out and focusing on one thing, what is just one thing that they should focus on? Just creating content if they're a blogger, or figuring out what their business is?
Yeah, it all goes back to your personality and your type, what you're good at, how you can add value to the market, to change somebody's life. The whole idea has to be solving problems. You've got to solve somebody else's problem. And for you, that is your ability to write and to do it well, then yes, by all means do it. For some people, that might not be the case. Other people might actually be developing a product that the world would love to have, and maybe not even know it yet. Perfect example is the smartphone. We didn't know we needed it until we had it, right? And they solved a huge problem, which was like, I don't have a computer, I don't have a way to do this and that. So they were able to solve people's problems that way. And at the end of the day, it's all comes down to problem solving.
Right. One of I always tell people for brainstorming this kind of thing is think back on your life and what's the biggest pain point that you went through. Because you obviously made it this far. And I don't know, maybe you're just hiding it really well or something like that. But maybe you have some strategies around getting through that, and now you're able to help people. So for a lot of people, it's here, coming from getting out of debt and helping other people do the same.
Right.
And that's kind of one way I tell people to kind of start brainstorming. I don't know if you help people going from like step zero to the conception stage. What are other ideas for helping people to figure out what's their thing?
Yeah, I mean, my big thing is I'm very relational, so I love to get to know people. And it's funny, a lot of times you might not know that you're naturally good at something until somebody tells you. And I think it's really important to call that out of people. Perfect example, I met somebody earlier who's a very good encourager. And I just mentioned, hey, you're great at like encouraging people. And they're like, oh, really? And they didn't even realize that skill that they had themselves, but it's probably one of the biggest parts of who they are, but it's just who they are, so they don't really notice it like someone like you or I would. And it's important to call that out of people, say, hey, you're naturally really good at this. Because that's sometimes can spark something inside of somebody to say, maybe I should focus more on that type of thing.
So the two ways there, guys, trying to figure out what your skills are, what makes you an advantage, and then also what problems are there about to solve.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that the market and the world is too saturated. There's nothing for them, like scarcity mindset, if you will. I don't believe in that at all. Everyone is unique, which means everyone has unique problems, which means there's a unique solution for everybody. And oftentimes, you, the listener, are the only person who's actually able to solve that person's problem. You may be the very thing that gets them through what they're going through in their life right now. And it's not scarcity. Someone is already doing it. The world needs you and the solution that you have for it.
And we're living in pretty amazing times where, I mean, if you get good at WordPress, I mean, that's your conduit to reaching everybody.
Yeah.
That's kind of what Alex helps a lot of people do, and he kind of gets guys going. And the internet is kind of the infrastructure to get it out there.
Absolutely. You know, when I started blogging the first thing I did was actually go speak at I got invited to speak at a WordCamp, which is a WordPress specific event. And I was there to promote my blog. I was going to talk about my blog. I ended up talking and nobody cared about my blog at all. But people loved the strategy I shared in creating it. And that's kind of where I found what I'm in now. You know, I'm not specific to WordPress, but a lot of what I do is helping people start with that platform and build from there.
Yeah. So what was the content of the blog originally about?
Yeah, it was actually a faith-based blog. So I was just kind of writing about my faith, my journey in Christianity, and it was really cool. But I mean, I wasn't a great writer yet, but I wanted to help promote that, and I was kind of working on my own brand and things like that. I was a little bit selfish.
So by creating that content, you learned these skills along the way.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it was a side hustle. I had the time. I had no one else to do, so I was like, oh, I'll learn how to do this WordPress stuff, and a lot of it came more natural than I expected it to.
And the good thing is that this industry changes so much, all the little tricks and tips, little trends, all these little, hey, did you try this app, AppSumo, all these little tricks and tips. It's not like somebody who, I mean, it changes. That's why I don't really try to bring on guests, the big names, because a lot of their advice is just not very useful to regular real estate investors trying to get started today. And that's kind of the same thing here.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I remember when I was first kind of looking at different applications, plugins, there's millions of options out there for anything, and it was a matter of kind of narrowing it down. And now I'm very devoted. I have a daily routine that is just devoted to education. So I'm reading all these different, I think it's like 35 different publications I go through every day, and I'm looking to see what the new trends are, what's coming out, and how I can be a benefit to the people that I'm helping coach.
Yeah. So Alex was going to do this thing for me. He does this like $50 coaching thing, and I always like to get. I mean, for real estate, that's kind of something.
Yeah. Oh, I know it. Yeah. Like you do me. I'm a hobbyist when it comes to real estate investment. I have some rental properties.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Oh, I know it's a good value for you.
Yeah,
right?
I think it is. I mean, even if it's just to talk to somebody different for like $100, I mean, if they're kind of adding value to you, one little thing or changing one idea, I mean, that's really all you. It's a lot of leverage right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But once you give away your URL, and then
absolutely. Yeah, it's nguonline.com. It stands for Next Gen University. So again, we're focused on educating, helping people when it comes to coaching. There's also a blog on there, which is a free resource, and we're starting to launch an online course. The next couple of weeks, we'll have kind of our first one out there.
And then what's the other blog that was started, the Pet Project? The first ones people can get. How things started.
So first off, thankfully I've taken most of my stuff off there that I don't want people to write my bad writing that I used to do. But it's called dailyps.com. It stands for Paradise Shift, so dailyps.com.
So maybe you guys can check that out and get a little inspiration from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And see, that's how the content and the skill creation was created from that page. And just kind of be passionate about things, and hopefully it leads to something else. If not, it's a hobby.
Yeah, at the very least, it's a learning experience, right? It's learning growth from it.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, live from FinCon 2018 in Orlando, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.